Good morning. I hereby call to order this 19th meeting of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission for the year 2025. Welcome everyone joining us here in the room today, as well as those joining us on the live stream. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. At today's meeting, which is open to the public, the Commission will act on various matters. Since adequate forms have been made available for public participation in cases before the Commission, there is no opportunity for the public to address the Commission at this meeting. The public meeting motions, statements, and video will be available on the Commission's website later today. The first matter on this morning's agenda is the approval of the minutes of the meeting of September 11th, 2025. I would like to recognize Vice Chair Barrow as the editor of the minutes. Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you, Chairman. I have reviewed the minutes of the September 11th, 2025 meeting. I move that they be approved as submitted.
Heard the motion by Vice Chair Barrow. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the minutes are approved by a vote of 5-0. Let's begin on page 1 of today's agenda and matters presented by Director Moore and the Bureau of Consumer Services. I move that the Commission adopt the proposed order regarding the petition for reconsideration filed by Cause PA. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0.
Chairman, I miscued there. I do have a statement on this matter. I apologize.
Okay. Commissioner Coleman moves that we reconsider the vote by which the matter on page 1 of today's agenda passed. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion for reconsideration is approved by a vote of 5-0. Going back to page 1 on today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt a proposed order regarding a petition for reconsideration filed by Cause PA. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfas. Any discussion? Commissioner Coleman, I missed my statement too. I will be I will be submitting my statement for the record. Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you, Chairman. Again, my apology this morning. It was right out of the gate, and I missed my opportunity here. This morning, we have a case before us for reconsideration, and this is really not about whether I am supportive of universal service or automatic enrollments. This is really an administrative matter where things kind of got a little bit out of order and has put the Commission in a bit of an awkward situation. And what I mean by that and this is nothing against Peoples. Peoples has done what they were supposed to do. Unfortunately, what happened is that their tariff amendments were approved by this Commission, and that those amendments to the tariff now cause the tariff to be inconsistent with the formal action of this Commission. So this morning, I believe that really the way to fix this is to look for Peoples to go back and file an amendment with this Commission to make that their tariff, consistent with the actions of the Commission. So I just want to take a moment here this morning and just run through this just to be clear, and I will ask that my statement be entered the record as though I read it in its entirety. As part of the settlement of the most recent case, Peoples agreed to file a petition with this Commission seeking approval of automatic enrollments of LIHEAP recipients with significant balances into CAP. As part of that settlement, People also agreed to retain and amend language in the tariff to provide for the automatic enrollment, and that's the piece that I'm referring to. The Commission approved the rate case settlement, and Peoples filed the tariff supplement shortly thereafter, which included language for this automatic CAP enrollment. Peoples then filed a petition as required by the settlement. In April 2025, we entered an order denying the Peoples petition. That's where I'm saying that that petition that we denied now causes the language in the people's petition to be inconsistent with our formal actions. Cause PA has now filed with the Commission asking for reconsideration of the April 2025 order. Cause PA has set forth 5 issues for reconsideration. My written statement details my positions on 4 of those 5 issues, and today I just want to focus on the one. I agree with the staff recommendation to grant reconsideration based on Cause PA's argument that the Commission overlooked language in People's tariff. Cause PA is correct that People's existing tariff language requires the automatic enrollment of LIHEAP recipients with significant balances into the CAP program. Our April 2025 order failed to address this issue. So in our order, we probably should have said to People's, you need to amend your tariff to make it consistent with that action on the petition, and we didn't do so. However, I disagree that the correct outcome for the direct Peoples to submit an amended petition providing for CAP automatic enrollment to align with the tariff language. Rather, people should be directed to file a tariff supplement seeking Commission approval to modify the tariff language. And the reason I'm suggesting that is let's start with a clean slate here rather than putting the Commission in a position where we now have to be responsive to tariff language which is inconsistent with what we have approved. The implementation of People's CAP automatic enrollment division as set forth in its tariff was contingent upon the Commission's review and approval of the People's petition. Since the Commission denied the People's petition, and in my view, reconsideration based on other issues is not warranted, People's cannot implement the CAP automatic enrollment petition. It then follows that if the tariff language requiring such enrollment should be subject to further review, this morning I would remind People's that it retains the discretion to file at any time a tariff supplement to modify the language of its tariff. People's tariff should include only Commission-approved rates, rules, regulations, practices, and contracts. So for that reason, this morning I'm going to be concurring in part and dissenting in part and wish for my vote to be recorded as a no. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no.
No.
The ayes have it, and the matter is approved by a vote of 3-2, noting Commissioner Coleman's concurrence in part and dissent in part. Turning to page 2 of today's agenda, matters presented by Director Hafner in the Office of Special Assistance. I move that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion in order regarding petition for reconsideration filed by Norfolk Southern Railway. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the matter is approved by a vote of 5-0. Continuing on page 2 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt the proposed opinion in order regarding the formal complaint of Julian Hormilla versus PPL Electric Utilities Corporation. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion?
Chairman, I have a motion.
Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you. Please enter my motion into the record as though read in its entirety. I will not read it in its entirety. So in January 2024, Mr. Hormilla filed a formal complaint against PPL. At issue is $12,094. The initial decision dismissed his formal complaint, and we are considering the exceptions to that decision. By way of background, Mr. Hormilla, he's a resident of North Carolina. He owned a rental property in Allentown, and he was in a landlord agreement with PPL. Those agreements allow PPL to keep service on in between tenants. So he sold a property June of 2020, and at issue is a balance that accrued after that with later tenants after the sale of the property. So Mr. Hormilla testified that he called PPL in June of 2020 to advise them that he was selling the property and asked them to cancel the landlord agreement. And he also testified that PPL issued a final bill in June of 2020, which he paid. PPL's witness testified that PPL doesn't have a record of him calling to cancel the landlord agreement in 2020, and that they would have sent him a letter confirming that if he had done so. What gets tricky with this record is that PPL's records that were submitted to, evidence that was submitted to the record only goes back to July of 2020. All of this occurred in June of 2020. So now we end up with, okay, which facts are the facts? Based on the fact that there was no balance owed at the time that Mr. Hormia says he canceled this agreement and let the company know, I tend to find his testimony credible. And also, we do not have any record evidence from that month. Accordingly, I find Mr. Hormia's testimony credible, and that he met his burden of proof in this matter. Simply because PPL has no record of sending Mr. Hormia a letter confirming the cancellation of the agreement in June 2020 does not mean that he did not call to cancel the agreement at that time. Therefore, I move that the exceptions filed by Julian Hormia are granted consistent with this motion. 2, that the initial decision issued on December 2nd, 2024 is reversed, consistent with this motion. And 3, that the Office of Special Assistant shall prepare an order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. We heard the motion by Vice Chair Barrow. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion?
Chairman, I do have a brief verbal statement.
Commissioner Coleman.
Thank you. I believe that the onus is on Mr. Hormella here to provide the burden of proof here in this case, and I don't believe that he has done so. I don't agree in sustaining this formal complaint. Rather, I do agree with the initial decision to deny the complaint that Mr. Hormella has not met his burden of proof as discussed in the decision, and therefore I will not be supporting the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coleman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed, no.
No?
No.
The ayes have it, and the motion is approved by a vote of 3-2, noting to the dissents of Commissioners Coleman and Unora. On the matter as amended by the motion, is there any objection to taking the previous roll call? Hearing none, the matter passes as amended by the motion by a vote of 3-2, noting the dissents of Commissioners Coleman and Unora. Turning to page 3 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion both items on page 3, beginning with the formal complaint of Frank and Jenna Panapinto versus First Energy Pennsylvania Electric Company, and continuing the omnibus to include both items on page 4, ending the omnibus with the application of Eldacare Transportation, LLC. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 5 of today's agenda, matters presented by Director Diskin and the Bureau of Technical Utility Services. I move that the Commission adopt in an omnibus motion both items on page 5, beginning with the petition of Columbia Water Company and ending the omnibus with the joint motion of Deer Haven LLC and PL Utilities LLC. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 6 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt a proposed order in the matter regarding the application of York Water Company wastewater. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion?
Chairman, I have a motion on the matter.
Commissioner Unora.
I'd like to make my motion enter it in the record as if I had read it in its entirety, but I will not read it in its entirety. As part of the application before us, York Wastewater seeks Commission approval to serve additional territory in Lower Windsor Township, York County. York Water already provides utility service to this area. The support of the application, York provider requests wastewater services from 3 property owners. The staff recommendation is this matter proposed to remove the segment of service territory known as East Prospect Road segment, for which no individual's wastewater service requested were received. However, I note that York did specifically identify numerous potential customers along the East Prospect Road segment, including numerous residential dwellings and the manufacturing facility. Based on this information, I propose granting the service territory request with approval regarding the East Prospect Road segment being contingent with York producing evidence to shore the need to service potential customers along this route. Therefore, I move 1, that the application of York Water Company wastewater is hereby conditionally approved consistent with this order, and 2, that the Bureau of Technical Utility Services draft an order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
You've heard the motion by Commissioner Yenora. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion?
Chairman,
Vice Chair Barrow.
I have a verbal statement. So on this application, one thing I would caution York Water on is in the future, when you come in, you apply for additional service territory, be very clear and with regards to not only what service territory you want, but also upfront supply all of the evidence needed to support that application. It causes, there's always complaints about how long we take to process these applications, but it is incredibly helpful if we have everything that we need upfront. So I am not happy with the process that played out with this particular application, but I do believe with a little assistance, we can make this go better. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the motion is approved by a vote of 5-0. On the matters amended by the motion, is there any objection to taking the previous roll call? Hearing none. The matter passes by a vote. The matter is amended by the motion, passes by a vote of 5-0. Continuing on page 6 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt an omnibus motion, beginning with the remaining item on page 6, the petition of Schuylkill Haven Borough Water, and continuing the omnibus to include both items on page 7, both items on page 8, both items on page 9, both items on page 10, both items on page 11, and the single item on page 12, ending the omnibus with the application of ARC Networks Incorporated. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the matters are approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 13 of today's agenda, matters presented by Chief Counsel Screven and the Law Bureau. I move that the Commission adopt the proposed order regarding the petition of True Connect Communications Incorporated. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the matter is approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 14 of today's agenda, matters presented by Chief L.J. Rainey and the Office of Administrative Law Judge. I move that the Commission adopt the initial decision of ALJ Vero in the formal complaint of Jason Showers versus Community Utilities of Pennsylvania. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion?
Chairman, I have a statement.
Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you. Please enter my statement into the record as though read in its entirety. I agree with the ALJ's decision to dismiss this complaint for failure of the complainant to prove that Community Utilities violated its tariff. I understand that Community Utilities' current wastewater rates are derived from the revenue requirement agreed to by the settling parties in the 2023 base rate case proceeding. However, the record is also clear that Community Utilities billed this complainant for usage that did not pass through its wastewater system because of the absence of a deduct meter on this account. Consistent with my position in the Maroda case, while I agree that community utilities billing is in compliance with this tariff, I don't believe that it is proper for a utility to charge a customer for service that they did not receive or that wasn't provided. Therefore, I just want to implore community utilities and the other wastewater utilities that are similarly situated to promptly address this reoccurring problem by filing and obtaining approval for a deduct tariff of some sort. And I encourage Mr. Showers to participate in the next base rate case filing. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the matter is approved by a vote of 5-0. Continuing on page 14 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt the recommended decision of ALJ Gannon and ALJ Haas in the matter involving the application of Pennsylvania American Water Company wastewater. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a statement.
Commissioner Zerfus.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am going to vote to approve the application of P American Water in this instant matter, and I'm just going to submit my statement for the record as if I read it in its entirety. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zerfus. Any further discussion?
Chairman, I have a verbal.
Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you. So I just want to highlight a couple of things for the record. So Pennsylvania American, they were seeking to pay $28 million for the Elizabethboro Municipal Authority systems assets. The depreciated original cost is $16.6 million. The settling parties agreed on $27.1 million, and also that $27.1 is based on the Commission's RRR for the year ended December of 2024. So that score is a 1.63. So this comes in as it's consistent with the RRR, and I'm happy to see that. But I just want to point out that still what's going to be probably entered into rate base is $10.5 million more than the system is actually worth. Just need to point that out because the cumulative effect of these cases will hit the ratepayers. We're doing the best we can with RRR right now, but it will hit the bills eventually. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the matter is approved by a vote of 5-0. Turning to page 15 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt the initial decision of ALJ Arnold in the formal complaint of Claudio Waller versus the PICO Energy Company Gas. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Vice Chair Barrow. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the matter is approved by a vote of 5-0. Continuing on page 15 of today's agenda, I move that the Commission adopt the recommended decision of ALJ Vero in the matter involving the proposed tariff supplement of Philadelphia Gas Works. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Zerfus. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, just a quick verbal.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So as part of the settlement in this proceeding, PGW is offering a 6-month payment plan to small businesses and will partner with the OSBA to showcase its small business assessment program. So I've said it numerous times from the bench here. I'm going to say it one more time. Probably not the last time I'm going to say it, but we know that small businesses are the backbone of our economy. When they succeed, we succeed. I like seeing these kinds of things in the settlement, so I encourage, these sorts of things to appear in more settlement agreements. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Zerfus. Any further discussion? I do have a statement in this matter. I ask that my statement be entered into the record as though I read it in its entirety. Before the Commission is the petition for settlement submitted by Philadelphia Gas Works, Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement, the Office of Consumer Advocate, the Office of Small Business Advocate, the Tenant Union Representative Network, the Coalition for Affordable Utility Services and Energy Efficiency in Pennsylvania, and the Energy Justice Advocates in the matters filed by PGW seeking modification of its DISC and seeking an increase in its base rate. The instant settlement includes a number of provisions that I believe are in the public interest. These include, but are not limited to, the following. In lieu of its proposed $105 million base rate increase, PGW shall be permitted to increase rates by $62 million annually, representing approximately 40% decrease from PGW's initial proposal. PGW has agreed to thoroughly research the use of smart remote methane detectors. Upon conclusion of its research, it will issue a comprehensive report and convene a meeting with settlement signatories to discuss the report. The Gasworks will offer one 6-month payment arrangement to small business customers who are payment troubled. PGW will work with the Philadelphia Department of Revenue and the Pennsylvania Department of Human Services to engage in collaboration and data sharing that can improve enrollment in the Gasworks Customer Responsibility Program, or CRP, aimed at helping customers better afford service. The Gasworks will identify its confirmed low-income customers from which it currently holds a cash security deposit and will refund that deposit. PGW will mail an outreach letter to Philadelphia Water Department Tiered Assistance Program households advocating for enrollment in their CRP. The Gasworks will increase its low-income usage reduction program, or LIARP, budget from $7.9 million to $9 million. PGW will convene annual meetings to improve coordination of LIARP with weatherization, home repair, energy efficiency service, and energy efficiency service in Philadelphia. Invitees will include PECO, Philadelphia Energy Authority, Habitat for Humanity, Rebuilding Together, and the Philadelphia Housing Development Corporation. PGW will convene stakeholder meetings to discuss improvements to the CRP application and enrollment process. And the Gasworks will convene stakeholder meetings to discuss best practices for serving victims of domestic violence. It is a core function of this commission to balance the safe and reliable provision of utility service with customer affordability. PGW's at-risk pipe profile, comprised over 1,000 miles of cast iron main, necessitates a continued capital expenditure program to improve or replace its most vulnerable distribution assets. However, in today's economic environment, where more families struggle to make daily ends meet, we must be sure that utility infrastructure replacement programs are not overextending customer pocketbooks. I apply the parties here with a myriad of beneficial settlement terms that can help to more properly achieve this balance. The proposed settlement will increase the average residential bill by 6.6%, significantly less than PGW's original filing, which would have raised monthly bills by 13%. I'm also pleased to see the significant commitment to process improvements for PGW's various customer assistance programs. PGW's efforts to enhance coordination of CRP enrollment with other agencies and entities is consistent with recent efforts of this commission to improve coordination via our Universal Service Programs Working Group. As well, I'm encouraged by PGW's agreement to fully research the viability of smart methane detectors. This is a technology that PGW is already piloting pursuant to a previous commission proceeding, and I find the commitment in this settlement to be a positive next step toward researching the efficacy and value of those detectors. For these reasons, I support approval of the proposed settlement. Any further discussion?
Chairman, just a quick verbal.
Vice Chair Barrow.
Thank you. I wanted to commend PGW on the smart remote methane detector pilot. I really am looking forward to seeing the results of that pilot. I hope it's positive. I would ask the company and the advocates to really work on, in the next rate case, getting the, I think it was the IT commercial customers up to cost of service as soon as practicable. And I also want to commend the company for its work with the community organizations such as the Philadelphia Energy Authority. They're doing good work, and based on the fact that the low-income population in Philadelphia is so high and the housing stock is ancient, they say many hands make light work, so kudos to them for working with these groups. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and matters approved by a vote of 5-0. That concludes all agenda items to be considered today. But before we adjourn, I'd like to recognize Commissioner Yonora for Imagine a Day Without Water. Commissioner Yonora.
Thank you, Chairman. Next Thursday, October 16th, the PUC will join elected officials, water utilities, community leaders, and educators and businesses to recognize the 11th Annual National Imagine a Day Without Water. This day reminds us that water is the single most essential resource connecting our health, economy, and environment in our daily lives. A day without water would bring a life to a halt and disrupting public services, emergency responses, businesses, and fundamental functions and convenience of society. The PUC is committed to working with our partners to advance greater investments in water infrastructure that ensure healthier water futures for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Yonora. Next, I would like to recognize Vice Chair Barrow for National Cybersecurity Awareness.
Thank you, Chairman. So good morning, everyone, again. And as we begin our first public meeting of October, I wanted to take a few moments to recognize National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. This is now in its 22nd year, and it's more relevant than ever because the cyber threats that we face here in Pennsylvania and across the nation are not slowing down. This year's national theme is Building a Cyber-Strong America, and that phrase really captures the challenge in front of us. Cybersecurity is no longer just about computers and passwords. It's about public safety, it's about economic security, and protecting critical infrastructure. And that is our business, protecting critical infrastructure. Cyber attacks targeting utilities have grown dramatically. National reports show a 70% increase last year alone. Those threats are, they range from phishing emails to sophisticated state-sponsored attacks, probing the systems that deliver electricity, natural gas, water, telecommunications, and transportation. And the impacts are not theoretical. If these systems are disrupted, and we've seen where they have been disrupted, the consequences for Pennsylvanians are immediate and they are far-reaching. So that's why the Commission continues to make cybersecurity a top priority. Just this spring, we advanced an enhanced cybersecurity rulemaking, seeking public input on updated requirements for utility planning, reporting, and compliance with recognized national standards. That process is still underway. And I also want to note that cybersecurity was front and center at our recent safety seminar held in September by the PUC's Safety Division. And I'll note that especially for smaller and mid-sized utilities, the resources that were made available and talked about at the safety seminar are especially important. And it was encouraging to see so many safety professionals engaged in conversation. And it's a clear sign that cybersecurity is now recognized as an integral part of public utility safety and reliability. So, and I also want to encourage not just the utilities, not just the Commission's professionals, but customers as well. Take small but meaningful steps every day, things like creating strong passwords, enabling multi-factor authentication, being alert for phishing attempts, keeping personal device software up to date. Those habits may seem small or simple, but they help build a shield around all of us. So Pennsylvania doesn't stand alone through NARUC. We are working side by side with other commissions across the country. We're sharing strategies, learning from each other, and coordinating with our federal partners like the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA, to strengthen the protections that we have. So as we mark Cybersecurity Awareness Month, I encourage everyone, whether you're here in this room, watching online, or working in one of the many organizations that support Pennsylvania's utilities, to take action. Cybersecurity is not a one-time fix. It is a continuous process. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Barrow. We also wish to recognize the PUC's Motor Carrier Enforcement Team in I&E, who is joining us this morning for today's public meeting. When these officers are out in the field, they're on the front lines. We thank them for their service to our Commission and our Commonwealth. Thank you. And finally, as we meet here along the banks of the Susquehanna River, it's fitting to pause and reflect on this week's observance of Indigenous Peoples Day and Columbus Day. Moments that remind us of the diverse and complicated history that shaped Pennsylvania and our nation. Long before Columbus and long before William Penn, this land was home to thriving indigenous nations. Many of our towns and landmarks, Susquehanna, Allegheny, Conestoga, and others, still carry their names. The roads and rivers that connect us today follow the same routes that once linked villages, trading posts, and gathering places across the region. As we honor those deep roots, we must also face the uncomfortable parts of our history, the discrimination, forced relocation, and broken promises that scarred so many communities. Remembering those truths is not about blame. It's about understanding, so we don't repeat those same mistakes. And this is not just about the past. Even today, there are forces seeking to divide and separate us, to question who belongs, to turn neighbor against neighbor. That's why it's more important than ever to acknowledge our shared humanity and to learn from the past so we can build a more just and united future. Pennsylvania's story, like America's, is one of many voices and many paths, woven together by our diversity. That same spirit guides our work here at the Commission, where the diversity of the people we serve and the colleagues we work with strengthens our decisions and our shared mission. So, as we continue today's business, let us also take a moment to honor the people who came before us and the land that sustains us and the ongoing journey we share toward a more inclusive future. We remind you that the Commission will be closed on Monday to observe the holiday, and we wish you a safe holiday weekend. If there is no other business to come before the Commission, is there any objection to adjourning today's meeting? Hearing none, we are adjourned.